directs, I do. I will always try and do that.
Thank you very much. We'll now proceed to your opening statement. The floor is yours, Mike.
Thank you very much, Senator Burr, Senator Warner, members of the committee. Senator Dole, thank you for your kind words this morning, but more importantly, thank you to your service to our nation and to Kansas as a public servant here, as an elected official, and as a soldier in World War II. Kansans, and I think it's safe to say your former colleagues here in the Senate, know they've benefited from your wit, your patriotism, and your kindness. I sure know that I have. Thank you so much for agreeing to be here this morning. Senator Roberts, thank you, too, for your warm introduction. I'm especially grateful for your guidance over the years, not simply because you're the dean of the Kansas congressional delegation, but due to the insights that you've shared with me in your role as the former chairman of this committee. Semper Fi, sir.
One time may have to leave early. I finally got a client.
Senator Joel, I completely understand. Thank you very much for being here, sir. Chairman Burr, Vice Chairman, Senators, thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today as the nominee of the Director of the Central Intelligence Agency. I want to thank the staff of this committee, too, for your kindness and attention through the nomination process. I'd like to thank President-elect Trump for nominating me. It's an honor to be selected as the next steward of the world's premier intelligence agency. I look forward to working with Senator Coates, the nominee for the Director of National Intelligence, and supporting him in his critical role should we both be confirmed. I also want to thank Director Brennan and Director Clapper for their many, many years of selfless service to our nation. I'm grateful, of course, to the people of the 4th District of Kansas who have entrusted me for the past 6 years and change to represent them in the United States House of Representatives. It has been a true honor. And finally, I want to thank my patient and patriotic wife, Susan, and my son, Nicholas, each of whom I love dearly. The two of you have been so selfless in allowing me to return to public service, first as a member of Congress and now, if confirmed, working with warriors who keep America safe. I cannot tell you how much it means for you all to be with me here today. Having been a member of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, I understand full well that my job, if confirmed, will be to change roles from centrality of policymaking to information provider. The director must stay clearly on the side of collecting intelligence and providing objective analysis to policymakers, including to this committee. I spent the majority of my life outside of politics, first as an Army officer, then as a litigator, and then running 2 manufacturing businesses in Kansas. Returning to duty that requires hard work and unerring candor is something that is in my bones. Today, I'd like to briefly sketch some of the challenges I see facing the United States, address trends in intelligence, and describe what I see as the Central Intelligence Agency role in addressing each of those. This is the most complicated threat environment the United States has seen in recent memory. ISIS remains a resilient movement that still controls major urban centers throughout the Middle East. We must ensure that they and those they inspire cannot expand their reach or slaughter more innocent people. The conflict in Syria is one of the worst humanitarian catastrophes of the 21st century. It has led to the rise of extremism and sectarianism, as well as further created instability throughout the region and in Europe and indeed all across the world. Iran, the world's largest state sponsor of terror, has become an even more emboldened and disruptive player in the Middle East. Russia has reasserted itself aggressively, invading and occupying Ukraine, threatening Europe, and doing nothing to aid in the destruction and defeat of ISIS. As China flexes its muscles and expands its military and economic reach, its activities in the South and East China Seas and in cyberspace are now pushing new boundaries and creating real tension. North Korea, too, has dangerously accelerated its nuclear and ballistic missile capabilities. We all rely on intelligence from around the globe to avoid strategic and tactical surprise. Intelligence helps make the other elements of national power effective, including economic and legal measures against weapons proliferators, terrorist financiers, and other criminals. Foreign governments and liaison services are vital partners in preventing attacks and providing crucial intelligence. It's important that we all thank and appreciate the foreign partners who stand with us in helping make sure that we all have the intelligence we need to keep America safe. If confirmed, I intend to advocate for a strong and vibrant intelligence community and for CI's centrality in that community. There are at least 4 long-term trends making the urgency of supporting intelligence paramount. First, the intelligence community finds itself a potential victim of long-term negative budgetary trends, which can weaken the fabric of our intelligence community. Second, as with the proliferation of chemical and biological weapons and ballistic missile technology, countries such as North Korea have overcome low barriers of entry to engage in offensive cyber operations. The United States must continue to invest wisely to maintain a decisive advantage. Third, the effects of dislocation and poor governance present critical challenges, but also new targets and opportunities for the CIA's collection and analysis. And finally, the insider threat problem has grown exponentially in the digital age. The greatest threats to America have always been the CIA's top priorities. It will be the CIA's mission, and my own if confirmed, to ensure that the agency remains the best in the world at its core mission, collecting what our enemies do not want us to know. In short, the CIA must be the world's premier espionage organization. One emerging area for increased focus is the cyber domain. Sophisticated adversaries, like China and Russia, as well as less sophisticated adversaries like Iran and North Korea, terrorist groups, criminal organizations, and hackers, are all taking advantage of this new borderless environment. The CIA must continue to be at the forefront of this issue. As the President-elect has made clear, one of my top priorities, if confirmed, is to assist in the defeat of ISIS. We must maintain an aggressive counterterrorism posture and also address manifestations of this great threat beyond ISIS and al-Qaeda. With respect to Iran, we must be rigorously objective in assessing the progress made under the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. While I oppose the Iran deal as a member of Congress, if confirmed, my role will change. I'll lead the agency to aggressively pursue collection operations and ensure analysts have the time, political space, and resources to make objective and sound judgments. Similarly, it's a policy decision with respect to how we will deal with Russia, but it will be essential that the agency provide policymakers with accurate, timely, robust, and complete intelligence and clear-eyed analysis of Russian activities to the greatest extent feasible. As a member of the House Intelligence Committee, I fully appreciate the need for transparency and support from members of Congress. I've lived it. We owe it to our constituents to get to the bottom of intelligence failures. But we owe it to the brave Americans of the intelligence community not to shirk our responsibility when unauthorized disclosures to the media expose controversial intelligence activities, or when Edward Snowden, from the comfort of his Moscow safe house, misleads the American people about intelligence activities. On my first visit to CIA headquarters just a few years ago, I visited an analytical targeting cell. Some of you have probably done this as well. I saw a woman who appeared as though she'd not slept for weeks. She was poring over data on her computer screen. I introduced myself, I asked her what she was working on, and she said she was just hours away from solving a riddle to locate a particularly bad character she had been pursuing for months. She had her mission. Its completion would make America safer. She was a true patriot. In the past few years, I've come to know there are countless men and women just like her at this agency working to crush our adversaries. This past weekend, I took a moment and visited Arlington National Cemetery. I've done this many times, but on this visit, I paid special attention to the markers that commemorate CIA officers who have perished ensuring our freedom. In so many places most Americans will never know, agencies put themselves and their lives at risk. We know the sacrifices of the families of each of these CIA officers from our role performing intelligence. Those families sacrifice greatly as well. As I walked among these heroes, I was reminded of the sacred trust that will be granted to me if I am confirmed. I will never fail it. I'm honored to have been nominated to lead the finest intelligence agency the world has ever known, working to keep safe the people of the greatest nation in the history of civilization. If confirmed, I will be sworn to defend the U.S. Constitution for the third time in my life, first as a soldier, then as a member of the House of Representatives, and now to work with the President and each of you to keep America safe. Thank you all for the opportunity to speak with you this morning. I look forward to your questions.
Mr. Pompeo, thank you for your testimony this morning.